What's up, Guardians? Profane here. Thanks for checking out the video. Today we're going to be covering 11 things that you should start doing before Destiny's next expansion called Frontiers arrives. As we begin wrapping things up with the final act of Heresy, we find ourselves at an interesting position as Destiny 2 players. We still have a few things left with this final act, which should include a final cutscene, and just maybe a few subtle lead-ins towards the journey ahead. Episode Heresy marks the final entry of the Final Shape expansion, and it wraps up the 10-year story of Light and Darkness. Frontiers will push the boundaries of everything we've come to know about Destiny with a non-linear story path. But with no confirmed release date, we can expect on waiting at least a couple more months before players will be jumping into this new expansion, which brings us to the 11 things that you need to start doing now before time runs out. Before the Final Shape released, we had a live event called Into the Light, which introduced Onslaught and Pantheon. The Rite of the Nine activity will serve a similar purpose, and through this new event we'll see 12 revised dungeon weapons. With our new expansion featuring a completely new weapon and armor system, it's possible that current weapons and armor will become obsolete to a certain degree. So it's very possible that these new Rite of the Nine weapons could carry some kind of special feature that allows them to be carried over into the new system. Otherwise, it would be really pointless for Bungie to revise and release all of these weapons just to make them obsolete a few months later. So when this new event launches in late May, you want to make sure that you get on and grab those updated weapons. As we finish out these last few weeks of Heresy, we can expect to see a few more entries into the overall story, a few more collectibles, and more seasonal challenges. Seasonal challenges cannot be carried over into the next expansion. Completing seasonal challenges provides a ton of XP, but it also gives you a ton of Bright Dust, so you want to be sure to complete these so you'll have plenty of Bright Dust available whenever those new Eververse items drop. Episode-related bounties are another item that will not be carried over into the new expansion, but bounties like those provided by Hawthorne, Petravenge, Banshee, or other planetary vendors can be completed and held onto, so that you'll be able to level up faster whenever that next expansion releases. When Frontiers launches, all 3 episode-related exotic missions will be removed as accessible node options. These are going to be added into the exotic mission rotator, just like Whisper, Presage, and 0 Hour. This means that the associated exotic weapons, which include the Borrow Dyad, the Slayer's Fang, and Choir of One, will not be as readily available for players to obtain. And that goes the same for all associated triumphs for those missions, and the exotic catalysts. When Frontiers launches, we can expect to see a complete overhaul of the Helm, which means that all of the current nodes will be removed. This means that all the associated activities, vendors, and areas will be removed as well, which means that you only have a few months left to fully rank up with each of these vendors, to complete their associated activities and earn their unique weapons, armor, and titles. This new expansion will introduce a refresh to the vendors out of the tower. That includes Saint 14, Zavala, Lord Shaxx, Banshee, the Drifter, and potentially even Hawthorne and 801. The current rewards in each of the vendors' rank-up systems will be changing, which means items like emblems and shaders will no longer be available. This refresh will also introduce a new rotation of weapons and armor that each of these vendors will offer. And like we've seen most recently with a palindrome, when weapons come back into the rotation, they sometimes come back with completely new perks and even energy types. So if there's any combination of perks that stand out for you with these weapons, then be sure to get them now. A new expansion that gives players the option to go into several paths means that players can expect to see several quests and several missions. With that in mind, it's going to be important for you to finish out on current quests and any side missions that you might have. If it's something that you don't plan on doing, then delete it, but you need to be sure to give yourself plenty of room for the new Frontiers quests. As we've already mentioned, Frontiers will include new armor and weapons. That means players will have to invest a lot of materials into leveling those up. So you're going to want to be sure to collect as many Spoils of Conquest, Enhancement Cores, Enhancement Prisms, Ascendant Alloy, and Ascendant Shards so that you'll be ready. Exotic Engrams are another resource that you'll want to stockpile. We can expect to see at least one new exotic armor piece out of each class, if not more. So you want to have as many exotic Engrams as you can carry, so that you can quickly level up with Master Raoul and unlock access to those new exotics. There's been no official word from Bungie on what the future holds for our subclasses and abilities, but with a new expansion we can expect to see a mix-up in the sandbox and meta. So if you're a player who has not finished unlocking all of the subclasses and their corresponding fragments and aspects, then that should most certainly be a priority. With a new expansion, we can expect to see a lot of new weapons, and with those weapons we'll see new weapon traits. Identifying what combinations to keep isn't going to be easy in those opening days, so you'll need to be sure to give yourself some extra space in the vault so that you'll have room for all the new weapons. We've covered ways that you can keep your vault clean in a previous video, so if you need help with that, then be sure to check that one out. For now though, that's going to bring us to an end of today's video on everything that you should start doing before Destiny's next expansion called Frontiers releases. If you've got any additional tips and suggestions for your fellow players, then be sure to let us know what those are down in the comments below. Thank you as always for checking out the video. If you enjoyed and found it helpful, then be sure to hit that like button below, along with the subscribe button if you're new. Both are greatly appreciated and both really do help support the channel. And until next time, Guardians, this has been Profane, wishing you all some happy hunting.